Hey gang, check it out. Austin Music Foundation is excited to share the first 5 songs from year 4 of our Artist Development Program, available exclusively on Bandcamp. 5 brand new original singles from DZ Brown, Aubrey Hayes, Drint, Pelvis Wrestling, and Stone Wheels. Your $5 donation will help Austin Music Foundation continue leading the way in producing innovative, career-advancing programs, including the Artist Development Program. Every dollar over the suggested donation will go directly to these worthy artists. Check it out today at austinmusicfoundation.bandcamp.com. That's austinmusicfoundation.bandcamp.com. Get involved.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here are your hosts,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm talking quiet a little bit because I'm doing this early in the morning and people are asleep at the beach house. I'm staying at in Galveston with my family and with a bunch of dogs and family. It's been really great. I've been here a couple weeks now, and this is my last week of hanging. I'm going back on Christmas Day. But I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're sane. I hope you get to be with loved ones this holiday. At least one loved one. That would be good, right? I know that people are having to stay away. The numbers are going insane out there. I've been staying away from the news, which is healthy, I think. I've just been kind of cruising around. Cruising around the house, cruising around the beach, doing stuff. It's great. Hey, gang, I want to let you know that if you're fans of the band Skyrocket, we are doing a Christmas live stream tomorrow night, Wednesday, December 23rd, 8 p.m., It will be all individually done from different places, which should be kind of cool. It's a little different than how we've been doing it, but we're trying an adventurous thing. So tomorrow night, Wednesday night, December 23rd at 8 p.m., you can go to Skyrocket the Band on Facebook, Skyrocket the Band on YouTube, or Skyrocket the Band on Twitter, and watch our Christmas show at 8 p.m. Central Time, all right? Wednesday, December 23rd, 8 p.m. Tune in, check out Skyrocket's Christmas show. And actually, Christmas is this week, so I really do hope that you're getting to be with loved ones this year. I have a double header show for you guys today for the Christmas week going into it. Yeah, that's right, baby. I'll be talking to Tom Lamb. He's got a project called Neutral on Paul. It's a project of songs that he was writing. He's a guitar player. He plays with Brandon Callies, but he started writing all these songs and decided to record them and got multi-instrumentalist and producer Taylor Tatch involved, and they made this record called Paper Brats, which is available now. It's a fantastic record, man. It's very rock and roll, very organic sounding, and it's a great rock and roll record. You can find Paper Brats and Neutral on Paul at neutralonpaul.com. You can also go to Spotify or wherever and find Neutral on Paul. Tom and I have a great conversation, but before we get to that, I talk to Austin hip-hop artist and beatboxer Ben Buck. He's a beatboxer extraordinaire. He's got a brand new record that came out in October. It's absolutely fantastic. It's called Speaker Bump Deluxe. It's available wherever you find music, but also available, of course, on Bandcamp. You can find Ben Buck at benbuckbeatbox.bandcamp.com. That's a tongue twister. Speaker Bump Deluxe features Zeely, Afro, Jamar Equality. He also did the song Rubber Bullets with my dear friend Kid Jones. Fantastic artist, and we have a great conversation. Ben is like, second generation Austin artist. His dad, Mike Buck, the drummer, he's been playing with Eve and the Exiles, and he's been playing around Austin for years, and he's a DJ. He's got a blues show that you can find out there on the radio. But Ben Buck, his son, is a great beatboxer, a great rapper, and makes fantastic records. He's a very exciting artist to watch. I've been watching a lot of videos of him. We also have a lot of talks about cassettes on here. So before we talk to Tom Lamb from Neutral on Paul, let's talk to hip-hop artist and beatboxer, the amazing Ben Buck. Let's get down.
drop a knife, throwing flame like a Molotov. You can check the body rock. The body rock better come together. And I'm doing it one better. Going measure for measure, cutting the cord, then I sever. No pushover, sideline them like I'm riding shoulders. Ashing on the track, I let it smolder. Another tick off the list, drag it to the folder. Ruler wise, still on my sofa. I'm taking y'all to boot camp. I left them on the exit ramp. Gotta go and let them know that I'm really the champ.
When I saw you last time, it was my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was drunk, but thank you for the birthday present.
No, of course.
Man, Ben, can I ask you a question before we get going and all this stuff? How, like, there's a movement now with cassettes. Can you play those cassettes?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a cassette player?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Are they making new cassette players?
Yeah, I've actually seen a couple launch. They're like revamping the old boombox style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, places like Hot Topic and niche places like that. It's funny.
So in the world of cassettes, what I think they're cool, but what is their actual service to the artist right now?
I gotta be honest. I feel like it's about 60 to 70% novelty. You know?
Right, to have something.
Yeah. Realistically, I mean, before I started making tapes, I mean, I did have a small tape collection, but yeah, there was years that I didn't listen to any cassettes at all.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Interesting.
Speaker Bump Deluxe, the cassette that you gave me for my birthday, is fucking great, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. You've had a really prolific year. Like, you've put out a bunch of singles. You put out 2 records. How's it been going for you during this quarantine?
It's been going all right. I mean, I really saw it as a time to really buckle down, you know. Since I was like a full-time gigging musician, so a lot of the time it really felt like, you know, I was performing for the same people at the same venues for a long time, maybe taking some gigs that I would have been better off skipping.
Right.
You know?
It's giving you a chance to kind of reflect on your approach, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Really helped me get a lot of new material together as well.
Did you write Speaker Bump Deluxe under quarantine?
A lot of it I did write. Some of it were older things that I just needed to put the finishing touches on. Some were tracks left over from my last album that didn't fit the vibe of it. Mm-hmm. But a good portion of it I did write during quarantine.
That's good. You also had that song Rubber Bullets that came out earlier in the summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You wrote that after like the murder of George Floyd and during the protests, is that?
Yeah, right when the protests were really starting, I think I wrote it within, you know, a week of the first demonstration inside of Austin.
Did you go?
Yeah, I went a couple times.
What was it like?
Honestly, the times I went, it seemed, you know, it just seemed very necessary, you know. Like, it seemed like people really needed to get together to have proper healing for what happened in the community. And, you know, of course, there was a lot of negativity at those protests, but seeing people come together for the right reasons. Well,
Yeah.
Maybe not the right reasons, but, you know.
For a reason.
For a reason.
And a good reason, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting because now the other side is out there protesting.
Right. That's just ridiculous. Oh, y'all shouldn't be demonstrating. Let's go count the vote. Don't count the vote. You know?
Yeah. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. Lots of double think going on.
I watched this Purple Bee Live thing that you did, and was that like your record release show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. That's the closest I felt to an actual rap show in months.
Yeah, I was amazed at how much. I've never seen you perform live, but I'm kind of moved by how much you do spontaneously on stage, like from getting words to make a loop out of, to, you know, all that kind of stuff, to making the beats as a beatboxer live on stage. What, does it ever go wrong? I mean, have you ever done it where it's just gone fucking wrong?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I swear when I was, you know, still getting used to my setup, it'd be 1 out of 3 shows that something would not go right, you know?
Yeah.
And,
what kind of looper thing are you using?
All right. So this is the RC30 loop pedal.
Okay.
It has 2 channels and 99 built-in banks that you can store anything you wanna.
Okay.
And yeah, instead of using a laptop to record beats that I make for a long time, I use this as my hard drive as well.
Okay. So, man, you should get an endorsement from Boss. Isn't that a Boss pedal?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, I've bought 2 or 3 of these in my day. I mean, they're just super reliable machines.
Yeah.
And yeah, I recently upgraded to the 505. Yeah. And I'm not as confident performing live with this one yet.
Right.
I'm gonna get there eventually. Built-in effects, you know, 5 different channels instead of just 2, so a lot more options to have.
When you say you were performing live a lot before, like where does hip hop happen here? I mean, I know the Mohawk and Empire, but where is it happening? Like other
I wouldn't
places?
even say the Mohawk.
Really?
You know, sometimes at the Mohawk, but where I would see hip hop happen consistently was Scratch House, which is no longer with us anymore.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much any venue in Austin has at least some rap show during the month. It felt like at the time, you know.
Does that, as a rap artist, to say that, like, I mean, hip hop and like R&B are the biggest styles of music everywhere, basically, outside of the county lines here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then here it's like a very marginalized, it's almost like jazz or something.
Right.
No offense against the jazzers.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people argue that it, you know, doesn't have the same place in Austin music as, say, indie rock or, you know, any other number of genres. But I really think you just have to get in as many places as you can and just be persistent and, you know, bugging bookers and getting into places that traditionally hip-hop artists wouldn't fit inside of.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So as a beatboxer, I tried to use being a different type of hip-hop artist first just as a loop beatbox artist and not first as a rapper. I felt like I could fit onto multi-genre shows, comedy shows, you know, pretty much anywhere I could get in besides just a straight-up hip-hop build act.
Yeah.
You know.
That's funny because when I was watching that Purple Bee live show, I can't remember the guy's name that went on before you, but I was thinking the way that it was presented was like when you go see a multiple artist comedy show.
Yeah.
Like, all right, here's Ben. All right, here you go.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Give it up for Ben.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I loved organizing shows and hosting shows before everything hit the fan. So it just, you know, it felt normal to me. So that was really nice.
Yeah. So man, let's go back. I want to find out this whole thing because your beatboxing is fucking unbelievable. Like there's a thing that somebody posted on YouTube of you, somebody else did, and it's like fucking insane. So I know your dad, and I've known him for a long time, Mike Buck, drummer here in town. I mean, he's played with everyone. He was part of like what I would consider like the establishment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, you came up in the establishment, in the scene, you know? And and Eve is definitely brought up and part of the establishment as well. She was brought up in it, like you were. So tell me, what was it like for you and your sister Billy, like growing up? Were you guys at shows all the time? Were you those kids that were 7 at the Continental Club and Antone's?
I mean, yeah, my parents have been bringing me to live events since, you know, I was a baby, since I was born, you know. And I just remember going to Guero's for my dad's Wednesday residencies you
Right.
know, from 4 years old till about 13 or so. And, you know, yeah, I mean, I've been going to shows since I was born.
Yeah. What did coming up in that scene? Because both you and your sister are art people. You know what I mean? Like it seems like I don't know how many people you know outside. I have tons of family members and even brothers and sisters that grew up with different moms and the same dad, but like grew up in a completely different scene than me. They're like, how did it ever occur to you to do this? And I'm like, oh, that's the people that were around me when I was growing up. We're all, Dave the drummer. It wasn't like the guy from U2 or something, but there were
Right.
guys that went out on tour with bands and shit. And like they were regular people that made a living and they were just art people. Is that sort of the scene that you were brought up in, like this?
Yeah, I mean, just lots of weirdos. You know?
Yeah.
My dad introducing me to lots of odd characters around town, like, oh, this is my friend that owns Continental Club. He has 20 hot rods. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is Homer and his one-man band, like,
Yeah.
I would just meet the most random characters and just art people,
Yeah.
alternative lifestyles for sure.
Right. Alternative to like straight people, but it's totally normal to people like us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I always
Right?
think about it.
Like,
There's
it's
this
definitely my normal at this point.
Yeah. There's like, I remember like when I was growing up, my mom, like not just musicians, but she had her friend, like this guy was a real, like legitimate third generation sword swallower. And he traveled around the world,
He was.
like swallowing swords, and like some weird street musician named Magical Mystical Michael, who I still see from time to time that I knew when I was a kid. They were like normal grown-ups.
Right. Like, takes no explaining.
Yeah. So how did hip hop find you? How did that grab you?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, my sister did turn me on to a lot of, hip hop early on.
Uh-huh.
She was more into punk rock, but she really listened to all kinds of music. And, she would give me her CDs to play on a Walkman that we both shared. And, it'd be like Gorillaz that happened to have a couple rap songs on there.
Right.
And Rage Against the Machine that wasn't straight up hip hop, but it definitely has the same energy, just with a different twist to it. So, about 9 or 10 years old, getting those CDs really introduced me to it. Then I started looking up things on my own, checking out, stuff on my own volition. And I started going to rap shows when I was about 12 or 13 years old.
Who were you seeing then?
Mostly bigger named artists that
Okay.
were coming through town. So my first rap show was 2010, and it was Wu-Tang Clan at Emo's. And they had Riders Against the Storm,
Yeah.
Franchise,
Yeah.
and I think Dirty Worms were the local openers.
Right.
And that really, that showed me that there was kind of a local scene surrounding it, not just like bigger named artists coming by.
Right. Then how did you start beatboxing? Like,
It was just always kind of a thing, like, my dad started me playing drums pretty early on. And, I decided I didn't want to play the drum kit. Like, if there wasn't a drum kit always available, I could just make any noise and try to imitate that. So, yeah, it's just always kind of been a thing.
yeah. So who else were the guys? Can I ask you before we go into the guys thing? I'm always fascinated with there's amazing people. I actually just saw Franchise and Zeely day before yesterday at Cosmic.
Great.
Yeah. I wonder what happened. Like when I'm not totally okay. This is the worst constructed question of all time.
Okay.
I'm not totally ensconced in hip hop. Like,
Of course.
it happened to me. I was always like a rock and pop dude. Does it like I listened to it? I listened to Ice-T, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys. Dr. Dre, all of the main ones. Like I didn't know any real like underground people, the Roots and stuff like that. So my education has come from like watching things like Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix or something. Have you ever seen that?
Okay, it's a great source for sure.
It's great. And that show centers around scenes and how cities kind of found their sound. After watching a number of episodes, you start putting it together like, oh, a scene kind of pops up because a city has its sound. And you can hear it on the radio and you're like, oh, that's Atlanta right now or whatever. You know what I mean? And then I started thinking like Austin has never really grasped onto a sound.
Yeah,
has it?
Not have a sound.
No,
definitely not.
Do you think that that's something that's held like the whole thing from breaking out nationally, from people like you, Kid Jones, Zeely, Franchise, busting out of here? Riders Against the Storm?
I really don't know. I've heard this conversation a lot. Just Austin doesn't have a designated sound. There's nothing that artists can really gravitate towards. And I mean, we've never really had a sound, so it's hard to say if we would be propelled to innovate something. I don't know. Like, it's just really hard to say for me.
Yeah. There seemed to be kind of like a movement happening like when Dirty Worms started playing out and stuff. But that was also, I feel like, just part of what was happening in the world of rap rock in like the late 90s and early 2000s. Or
Limp Bizkit.
That like, pretty angry and intense. They wore masks and shit. Those guys in that band.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were good, man. So, all right. So when you started beatboxing, like what were your first shows? Like, how did you get out there?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it really started with Spider House, open mic, Austin Mic Exchange. And I was about 15 years old when I first got to that. I had still rapped for a couple of years before that, but just kind of casually at school, at the lunch table with friends. But going to Austin Mic Exchange and participating in the open mic was the first time I really, found a like-minded kind of
a crew.
Found my scene.
Yeah. Who all was in that scene? I mean, are you still buddies with people in that scene?
A couple of them. I mean, it was folks like Hermit Kingdom, Protexter, Frank P, J Jax, Square, and No One Important. Just a couple regulars at the open mic who had been going since 2013 or so.
Yeah.
And everyone's found varying levels of success. And after Austin Mic Exchange stopped happening, they just went their separate ways. But that always feels like the core group of people for me.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you...
I first met Franchise as well.
Okay. He's got a great... He's fantastic. Like him and Zeely are fucking great. So is Kid Jones.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to see DZ Brown tonight.
Oh, great. That's at
Far Out?
Far Out Lounge.
Yeah.
Easy Brown and Fat Tony.
Yeah. You know Fat Tony?
Yeah, not personally, but I'm a big fan of everything he's done.
Yeah. Do you do you hunt for samples? Like, do you do the bin diving thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I have my record collection over here. I work at a record store, so...
At Anton's?
Yeah, that's what I do every day.
Yeah. So you're in it. You find... And, man, that place deals in, like, amazing... Has old R&B records that...
Yeah.
Like, an amazing collection of that shit.
Yeah, I love all the R&B and soul that comes through.
Yeah. What, well, talk to me, like, are there any things, like, on the latest album on Speaker Bump Deluxe, anything you found from something like that?
Oh, yeah, let me check the track listing real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, big thing is, after I sample something, I modify it so much, I often forget what I sampled.
Right.
It's such a thing that you have to alter the sample to the point that you can't get flagged for it.
Right.
And I even made a challenge when this album first dropped. If anyone could identify a single sample from this album, I would give them free merchandise, and no one was able to. So I was pretty proud of that. Yeah. Most of these samples are just lost to the ether now.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, I mean, are you like looking, like, are you, when you're working all day, are you just putting on record, just random shit? Like, oh, this looks weird, you know?
My dad usually gets the DJ, so
okay.
I get a lot of his recommendations, which have really introduced me to such amazing artists, like especially Link Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, Link Ray and the Meters are two of, my favorite artists my dad showed me.
Right. Those are great bands, man.
Yeah.
Do you still go out and see stuff, like bands and stuff? Do you go see any rock music?
Well, I started working at 2 venues downtown, at Hotel Vegas and Antone. So that's about all the music I really get to see these days. But,
that thing at Hotel Vegas, like going there that night, that was like my first night. Anyway, that you were getting me. It was my birthday. I was drunk, and is like a guy that just came out of a cage at the zoo after like 7 months of being locked up. So I was exceedingly happy to see you. That's like.
It made me feel real warm right here. For sure.
Well, good, man. I mean, I was legitimately happy to see you, but it was like an insane sort of. I remember getting home that night and just going like, "Wow, I went to a place. I saw people."
It's a great feeling for sure.
It is a great feeling.
Back out.
Yeah. What other kind of shows are you able to do now? Like, what are you able to do show-wise under these circumstances?
I'm just being really careful. I'm trying to stick to, mostly live streams or pre-recorded events where it's just a sound crew, a film crew, and whoever else I'm performing with. And I'm just trying to be real careful. I mean, I would love to hop back out and start performing at shows, but I'm going to keep it real low key as long as I can.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Like, do you have any stuff coming down the pike? People can go to your Bandcamp site and find everything. You even have the record that's the instrumentals. That's just the instrumental tracks of Kilroy? Or
actually,
just instrumental
just
tracks?
2 beat tapes.
Okay.
McNasty 21 and Texas Heat are just instrumentals. There's a couple instrumentals off of Speaker Bump Deluxe on Texas Heat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But pretty soon, I'm going to be releasing all the instrumentals to Speaker Bump.
Okay, excellent. Why do you release just the instrumentals? What is, just so people can get the grooves and have it like playing in the background?
Yeah.
Or something?
I hope people that write their own raps can gravitate to instrumentals. That's as well.
Yeah. Are mixtapes still a thing? I feel like such an old white guy when I'm talking to hip hop guys, but right. I am. I'm like 52, and I am like not super cool. But are mixtapes still a thing?
Oh, I was actually talking to my roommate Harris Qureshi about that today.
Oh yeah,
he's in a group with Kid Jones, and he's still making mixtapes.
You live with Harris? I love that dude, man. Tell him I said hi.
I will definitely.
Yeah. He. I work with the Austin Music Foundation, and Kid and him went through the artist development program.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I had a consultation with Adrienne Lake recently.
Oh, really? How did that go?
It went great. She gave me a lot of pointers.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of, are there a lot of older people like your dad's friends that you go and ask questions to and stuff? I mean.
A couple people. I mean, not too many that are specifically my dad's friends, maybe just people that he knows around.
Older dudes, yeah.
Yeah. I went through the ACC music business program.
Oh, cool.
So that gave me a lot of, older insight. People like Jeffrey Shulman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Heather from Juice Consulting as well.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah. They both gave me a lot of insights to the PR classes I took and also music management.
Do you are you comfortable with like the one man operation?
Yeah, it works
as
for
an
me,
artist.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, it would help to have ambassadors or something.
Yeah.
People to plug into different outlets that I'm not in currently. But, I like having the production all in-house so I can manage my own deadlines and not have to rely on other people.
Right. It's interesting because the culture of hip hop is so communal, man. Like, even like going in and recording a couple songs with recording a song with Kid and Harris last year for Austin Music Foundation at the Bubble. Like, there's hip hop guys roll with the dudes. There's a posse. Yeah. There's
definitely.
Yeah, a gang. Is it weird to be a solo guy like that?
No? I think it gives me more opportunity to work with more people around town. Mm-hmm. I mean, this last album was almost primarily posse cuts too.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that. There is that. That's another thing that I've always thought that, like, hip hop always had like a step ahead of like rock dudes of like just getting together and doing shit together, even if it's just a tune or a verse,
Definitely.
Yeah, you had a lot of great people. You had Zeely on the record, Afro. I like his voice a lot. Is he from here?
He is from California, actually. Okay. He's one of the two people that are not located in Texas.
Okay. And was it Kilroy that you did the stuff with Flobama?
Yes.
Yeah.
He produced about 3 or 4 songs off of that album.
When you did a tune, I can't remember what the first tune is off of Kilroy, but I think that one was produced by Flobama. How did you do that tune? Like, did he have a beat for you to rap over, or?
The funny thing about that one is, I had a CD of his, which were all instrumental beats that he put out about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I had this CD just inside of my, Xbox for years. And I finally went through it and said, hey, man, are you doing anything with this? I haven't seen anyone record to this since 2015. Can I use it for my album? And yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I kind of salvaged that beat for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome that happens, that people share beats like that. Definitely. And that you put out instrumental things in hopes that somebody else will come up with a cool-ass rap on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be stoked if people, respectfully use my instrumentals from this album for something else. I mean, if it's a good song, of course.
Right, right.
I'd love to see the same kind of sound kind of diverge. So
yeah. Yeah, maybe that will start a sound in Austin.
I hope.
Yeah. All right, so you're working on another instrumental record of Speaker Bump Deluxe, and people can find all your stuff at Ben Buck Beatbox at .bandcamp.com.
Yes.
What else am I missing? Am I missing anything else, man?
I've been working on screen printing and tie-dyeing.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Yeah. So I'm working to be, another plug for merchandise for Austin artists.
Oh, that's awesome. How do people find you? How do people find that?
Yeah, I have a Ben Buck tie-dye. You can also find them at Speaker Bump Presents, which is my Instagram page. I have numbers for screen printing and tie-dye as well. I've done stuff for Via 313 and Rolling Smoke Barbecue so far.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Corporate. All right, well, I'll put a link to that in the text of this podcast.
Wonderful.
But dude, man, it was really good catching up with you.
Definitely, man.
I hope the rest of the quarantine goes well, and I can't wait to hear more music. Man, you're really, really great. I'm very excited about hearing more of your stuff.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
I got more stuff in the works. I got one question for you.
Okay, what is it?
I heard you're an ordained minister.
I am.
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that? Oh, because I married Katrina and Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting piece of trivia.
Yeah, I've only done 3 weddings, and they've been really good ones. I said no to one.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I'm not going to even say who it is, but it was somebody here in Austin that's a music person. And their idea was they thought it would be hilarious if I was and I was like, that's not really.
That's not what I'm going for.
I don't want to launch you off on the most important day of your life as like a big fucking joke. And those guys, Ben, I swear to God, split up and were divorced in 9 months. So I called it, and that's when I was like, I'm out of the game. But then Katrina and Charles asked, and I was like, okay, you guys are cool. But like, I don't want to do it as like a goof or as
why be a gag?
yeah, or yeah, it's it's a pretty important thing. So yeah, if you ever get married, man, I'll do it.
Okay, for sure. Me and Harris next year.
Oh, that'd be great. Man, tell Harris I said hi. I love that dude. I really do. He was always so fantastic in meetings because he just didn't. There's no filter on that dude. Like people are like, oh, I need to watch out how I ask this, and he'd just be like, hey man, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to him, he does not give a single fuck.
No, and I love that about him. I really appreciate that about him. Well, man, it's been great talking to you. I'll put links to all your stuff on here, and good luck, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
hope to talk to him.
Yeah. I hope to see you again. Next time, maybe I'll be a little less excited.
I was about to say, I'll see you guys in Vegas.
All right, my man. Good to see you, Ben.
Thank you.
See you, buddy.
Believe any track that you spit. I'm actually legit, passionate with this, stacking all my chips while you were just rapping on the script, packaging and slip while I'm napping in my
Ben Buck is badass, man. I love talking to that dude. What a great artist. Fantastic artist. Find him at benbuckbeatbox.bandcamp.com. All right. Speaker Bump Deluxe is his latest record. It's out now. You can find it. He also released Kilroy this year. He did that Rubber Bullet song with my man Kid Jones. What a great artist. Find him at Ben Buck Beatbox on Bandcamp. All right. Fantastic conversation. I love seeing him. I want to see him play live for real because he's such a badass. He does so much wild stuff. All right, gang. Next up, I talked to the amazing guitarist Tom Lamb, who plays guitar with a lot of different people. Plays with Brandon Callies, who's a great artist and a friend of mine and was just on the show. And he's got a new album, Sunrise Diner, coming out sometime soon. But Tom Lamb also has a solo project, and the band is called Neutral on Paul. And he just put out a brand new record called Paper Brats. It was him and this guy, Taylor Tatch, did it all over at Audio Styles. It's a fantastic record. You can find him at neutralonpaul.com. So please, without any further ado, enjoy my conversation with the amazingly talented and super cool. We do have a great conversation. The super cool Tom Lamb from Neutral on Paul. Let's get down. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm hanging in there. I've been, the last couple of days bugging out,
Yeah, it's election week is when we're having this conversation, for those of you that are wondering why we're freaking out, like in December.
Bugging out.
God forbid we don't still feel like this then. How's your quarantine going? What are you doing?
Well, this album thing happened. That was literally like...
Did you write it under quarantine and record it?
So some of the songs are older. So I recorded it literally March, early April. So we were like 2 weeks into this shit. And I was like, okay, well, this is going to be 4 weeks. And then, so I only have this, little finite chunk of time to knock some stuff out.
Yeah.
And so it was so fast.
When you were doing it, were you cognizant that you were making a record that you were going to put out? Or were you just like, I'm just going to record these tunes, man?
Brandon Callies, he's been for the last couple of years been like, dude, make an album, dude, make an album, dude, make an album. And that was just kind of, daunting to me. I'd never done it for myself by any means. And so I just started rolling with it.
And you did it yourself. Those are the drums behind you?
No. I tracked vocals, guitars, auxiliary stuff, some random percussion in this room. This is my garage. And basically I sent everything that I tracked over to Taylor Tatch at Audio Styles. Do you know Taylor?
No.
Oh, dude, he's awesome. I want people to know Taylor. We did the last Brandon Callie's album, which I think you've heard with Taylor at his studio. So basically,
but that
we
record,
did it.
The Callie's record isn't out yet, right?
Not yet.
No.
It's been sent for pressing, so we're waiting on. I guess there are delays. Things are taking time to get pressed right now.
Yeah, because everybody's fucking
Everyone's
up in
making
their
music
thing and
at
making a
home.
record and putting it out.
Tom, you ain't special, Tom.
So, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I, in fact, okay, real quick. Let me get on the level with you about this record and my excitement for it. I am a super fan of the record that a guy just makes. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah.
I've done it. I used to do it. Like in the 90s, it was my trip. Like I had a 4-track as a teenager, and then I just always had a 4-track. Then I had an 8-track cassette, but then I got drums. I started playing drums along with my shit, and like it was a vibe.
Yes.
But I always had a band, made records with the band, put them out. But then at some point, I just had all of these demos, and I gave them to this label that wanted to do a record with me, and I went and recorded a tune in a studio with the band and everything, brought it back to them, and they were like, oh, no. The thing where it's just you, that's the thing. And, like, you can almost, like, for some reason, I don't know if it's because I know it's a record that someone made by themselves, you can almost hear the wheels turning in someone's mind when you hear, like, Inner Visions, or you hear, like, you know, the first Lenny Kravitz record, or the first Prince record. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Are you into Jason Faulkner at all?
I don't know who Jason Faulkner is.
Oh, that's weird because you have some musical sensibility, and he's another guy that does his records by himself.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so I did it primarily with Tatch. I'm I'm the world's worst drummer.
Okay, I thought that was you playing drums.
Nope, Tatch played drums, and primarily he was playing bass because I'm also not a good bass player. So I played a lot of guitar, all the vocals, a lot of random auxiliary stuff. I did play some bass here and there, but if the bass line's really good, it's Taylor Tatch. He's a bad man.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so it's a little bit different than what I thought, but it's definitely like a dude's solo record, like a guy stepping out.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's I mean, all those songs are my babies. And basically, you know, when stuff got locked down, Tatch had to close his studio. And so, you know, he got on his Facebook page and he's like, hey guys, send me stuff to mix if you want to do that.
Right.
And so it kind of flicked in my brain. It was like, oh man, I should do this. This is like an opportunity. I love what Tatch does. And so I just started tracking immediately. And initially I was going to just maybe do 4 or 5 songs, call it a little EP and put it out. And then we just rolled through it so fast. And so what would have been an EP would have been done in 4 days.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, let's keep on rolling. I want to get 10 songs. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I just started about half of those songs, maybe a little bit more than half were done. I'd written them already. And so a handful of them I had not written. It was just, you know, bam, just start writing songs that I felt would fit, kind of mesh with those other songs.
Yeah. The record has a cohesive vibe.
Awesome. I'm glad you got that, because that's super important to me. I like short. I want a really short album, and I want it to flow, and I want you to turn that fucker back on. Like, that's where my brain goes when it comes to albums.
Yeah.
I want the last song to finish and be like, oh man, where's more? And then you go back.
Yeah.
That's the albums that I love they do that.
Yeah.
So anyway. So I hit up Tatch. What's that?
Where are you?
I'm at my house in Dripping Springs.
Okay. That's a good place out there, Dripping Springs.
Yeah, man. We like it. It's pretty chill. We've got kiddos. They run around out here, have a good time. I was literally able to finish out a chunk of my garage to make a noise room, essentially.
Yeah. You need that.
So it's worked out really well. Hell yeah, you need that. Especially when you've got little kids.
How old are your kids, man?
4 and 6.
Are they home? Have they been home throughout this whole jam?
We had 7 months of it. And so pretty recently they're back, which has been good. And somehow, magically, I don't know if I believe it, but there are like no cases of COVID at the elementary school. So I don't know if we're dodging a bullet, if people are just full of it. I assume they're full of it, if I'm being real honest.
Yeah. I wonder too, man.
Yeah, dude. There's no way. There's no way. They're so full of it.
So you play with Brandon Callies as well.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And you love playing with him.
I love Callies.
He's a good dude, man.
He's the best. He's like the most generous dude I've ever met. He's amazing. And his songwriting he's just gotten so much better over the years. We got to be real good friends a couple of years ago. And, I'd heard some of it and I was like, oh, he's good. He's very good. And then he kept on feeding me new songs. And I was like, these are awesome. And then he really kind of roped me in when he started recording that Sunrise Diner album that you've heard.
Right.
A couple of songs in. And I was like, dude, these are amazing songs. I'm all in. And so he brought me in to the studio with he and Tatch, I think just to bounce stuff off of me initially. Just because, we listen to a lot of stuff together and we've got plenty of crossover when it comes to interests. And then there's plenty of things we just don't. He's way into metal. I listened to way too much Rufus Wainwright as a kid. You know what I mean? Oh,
really?
Oh, tons. And, all the Ben Folds. I was a theater kid in high school listening to Ben Folds and Rufus Wainwright. So yeah.
And you're a straight guy that plays guitar.
Absolutely.
That's pretty amazing.
I know, man. I met my wife in college. We were both theater majors, and she switched it up. She ended up being an accountant, but that's where we met.
Dude, that first Rufus Wainwright record, the John Bryan one,
it's phenomenal.
Oh God, man, what a great record!
I wore that out. That was early high school for me. I was just riding around a terrible car listening to that album and Ben Folds.
Yeah,
on repeat.
Ben Folds,
love
man.
that stuff.
That's another guy. I worked with Mike McCarthy, the producer and engineer, and Mike, when he lived in Nashville, worked with Ben, and he recorded all the demos for that first Ben Folds 5 record, but it was all Ben playing everything on the demos.
Wow.
That's another guy that did it. And those, I had a CD of it. I don't know what ended up happening to it. I lost it over the years.
Man.
But
I would love to hear that.
Mike burned me a CD of it, and it was the same record that you heard. Couple songs you'd never heard that you understand didn't make it to the record. But yeah, it was just badass. So Rufus, what kind of theater? Like, what kind of guy were you in theater? Were you like a lead guy?
Yeah, and like high school, and then I ended up going to college to do it. And I rolled up, and the theater director was cool, and he was like, "Whatever you did in high school doesn't matter." And I quickly figured out this is not going to go well for me. And so I started playing a lot more guitar and started playing in bands in college and stuff like that. I finished the theater thing, but I literally kind of stopped auditioning toward the end of college just because I needed to get a degree and get the hell out before I had more student loan debt. So
right. Let me ask you this: when you were out there, when you were playing more guitar and playing in more bands and stuff, what kind of gigs were you doing when you were in college?
We were doing just bar gigs primarily. We played. We were at Sam Houston, which is in Huntsville, so we were playing in Houston there was a place called the Sidecar Pub.
Man. Yeah, I played there. No, it's not around still, but I played there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like our Houston spot, and then we had another little
Perrin,
yeah.
Perrin and Marianne. Yeah. Marianne passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Some years ago. I want to say I don't know. Like 9
they were really
years
nice
ago.
to us.
They're very nice.
They kept on booking us over and over again. So we'd play there, I don't know, once every couple of months or so. It was good. It was really fun. And, it was a shitty place that sounded okay from the stage, and it was a fun place to play, and it wasn't that big. So you felt, as a kid, you felt like you were playing somewhere rad. It was really nice.
Yeah.
And they were really sweet.
Yeah. That room had a good vibe. Even though it was in a strip mall, it had a vibe.
It was in like a trashy suburban strip mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
they were really good to us.
Good.
Yeah. But that kind of thing. And then we were in a little college town in Huntsville. We played there way too much. And then we were playing here in Austin just a little bit. Zach Arrington. I don't know if you know Zach.
I know that name.
Zach, okay, so Brandon and I became really good friends through Zach, essentially. Okay. We're both groomsmen at his wedding, and that's really where we hit it off. But so I was playing with Zach forever. And he ended up getting us some, the gigs at the terrible times at Momo's and Saxon. And, we'd show up and play the exact wrong set. Like we played after like the South Austin Jug Band at Momo's with a 7-piece rack drum. It was ridiculous. And everyone left very quickly.
What kind of stuff were you doing?
Well, that was the problem. I don't think we knew.
7-piece, like with a rack? You guys had that?
Yes, it was.
Was
awful.
there 2 kicks?
No, it was a double. He had a double pedal, so it was oddly constructed. We had this dude who was obsessed with Danny Carey, who he's way into Tool. I was trying my damnedest to play little Stevie Ray Vaughan licks as badly as possible. Zach was writing singer-songwriter stuff on an acoustic guitar.
Whoa!
And and our bassist was a cellist, and he was incredible. But we were a wreck. It was not good. So luckily, that I don't know how we got the gigs we got here and there. It was bonkers for that anyone booked us. It was a shit show.
Yeah.
It was odd. Yeah.
How did you get out of that though? And then into like
so Zach and I moved. We came to Austin. I guess it was like 2005, and we also had. You're gonna love this. A comedy band. We had
awesome!
We had like a. It was almost kind of like a little Tenacious D rip-off thing that we were playing with in town a little bit. Here briefly, we did that simultaneously in college. So we had essentially 2 different bands in college that we were trying to do anything with.
Right.
But like we lucked out and we were hanging out at Cafe Mundi. Do you remember Cafe Mundi on the east side? So we were hanging out on Wednesdays, Matt and Southpaw for years.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Matt ended up getting us like a little residency for that comedy band at Cafe Mundi for a minute. And we squandered it, of course, just because I think we had 8 songs to play every week and fill 2 hours with. It was rough. But yeah, those dudes were super nice to us. And we spent all of our time at Cafe Mundi on those Wednesday nights. So it was like the best thing you could possibly do in your life at that time for us.
Do you remember Aben, the guy that was the barista guy? He might have been gone by 2005. But he's like Kelly Clarkson's guitar player and has been for like 12 years or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Is it Einar that plays bass for him?
Einar did. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, that's how I was backstage at one of their shows, and Einar was like, "Hey, I'm going to surprise you," and he's like, "Come back here." And I walk back there, and there's Aben, and I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Dude." So I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, "I'm the guitar player." And I was like,
That's awesome.
"Whoa!" Yeah, I think he was a musical director too.
That's killer.
But yeah, he was a Mundi guy as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were just there like Wednesday nights, and then over the years, I became really close with Southpaw Jones. I don't know if you know Southpaw.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, he's one of my best friends, and it started by us just going and hanging out at Cafe Mundi.
Yeah. What a great! I loved that place. That place also had a good vibe.
It was awesome. It was really awesome.
So, how did you met Callie's, and you were groomsmen in a wedding together, and then he roped you into playing just recently on this record, or how long have you been playing with him?
So about 1.5 years, I guess. So yeah, that was about 2 years ago. We were in that wedding together, and we didn't really know each other, but we kind of hit it off at like the bachelor party, like guys do. And we just got along really well. And then he started like courting me. He was like, "Hey man, let me get your Discogs username so I can look at your record collection." I was like, "All right, I guess we're doing this." And so yeah, I know it's felt a little direct. So he like looked at my record collection, and I think maybe from there was like, I can talk to this dude. We'll be friends. And then we just became super good friends. I started hanging out with him any opportunity I could. And he invited me in when we started working on the album, and it's been really cool since then.
And you guys, like, you're doing some gigs. Are you playing the Rustic?
Yeah, we've got that coming up next week. And yeah, we had really just started playing live right before things got shut down. We'd done like, 1-to-1 and Mohawk in February, and then we had a few things booked and everything shut down. So yeah, we've got that coming up next week, and so I've got to go back and relearn all these songs. I haven't touched those songs in 8 months.
Jesus.
Yeah,
but he's been doing some solo shows, right?
Yeah, he plays a lot. He does anywhere. He's got some stuff going on in Dallas right now.
Right.
We'll go play social distance stuff on a porch and a patio at the Granada. So yeah, Callie's hustles, man. That guy's always playing. Anytime he can play, he plays. He loves doing it, which is awesome.
What else do you do, like, in life?
I mean, corporate day job thing.
You do?
I mean,
you do have a corporate day job thing?
Yeah, man. I wasn't playing with anyone for literally a decade until Callie's and I started playing together.
Why did you get out of it?
Man, so when my wife and I got married, she was working in Houston and I was in Austin. And so I left to go get hitched, and we got hitched, and, very quickly we moved back to Austin. And, I don't know. I didn't really feel interested in lugging around amps for a minute at the time. And then, a couple of years into our marriage, I started freaking out and just needed to be playing. And so I started just writing a ton of songs. I'd started doing that kind of on my own with no intent of doing literally anything with it.
Right.
For years and years and years. So I spent literally a decade building out a music room, trying to figure out how to do stuff, writing songs, maybe showing them to 3 or 4 people. And it was literally Callie's who was like, hey man, make a record. I'm sick of you sending me bad demos, just make a record. and that's how that went down.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's a great record, man. And people can just go to neutralonpaul.com and all the links are there, whatever. Yeah. They can get into it.
Streaming everywhere.
Streaming everywhere. And what's the name of Brandon's album?
Sunrise Diner.
Sunrise Diner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like almost a year ago I had that conversation with, but it's just a couple months ago or something.
I mean, it was February of last year that we
made the record.
We made the album. Yeah, and I mean, I think the idea was to put it out a good long while ago, and then COVID. So, I have a feeling there's a lot of people with good albums in a can waiting to find a way to get them out.
Yeah, people are freaking out.
Yeah, man.
They got records, man. They're making them. What else is going on? Let me ask you a question about Neutral on Paul.
Yeah.
If this weren't COVID times, would you play with the band these songs at a place? That was the worst constructed sentence of all time.
I'm with you 100% though. I mean, if I could, I'd want to get all the harmonies. That's really the thing that freaks me out.
Takes rehearsing, doesn't it?
Takes a shit ton of rehearsing to get a lot of harmonies.
Yeah.
Right. Or even close.
Yeah.
And it takes a pile of people. I mean, that last song on the album, there's 20 vocal tracks,
Jesus.
So, I mean, I'm not going to have, it's not the polyphonic spree. I'm not going to have 20 people on a stage by any means.
Right.
But like, I don't know how I'd get it to sound right in my mind.
Would you get Brandon to play bass?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's an incredible bass player.
He is.
He's bonkers. And if there was a way for me to get Tatch like out of his house to play, maybe I could find a way to do it. But yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to put, any of my friends through that much pain to try to go put this stuff out there and me not be very sad about it not sounding right, if that makes sense.
What do you do then? You just come on shows like this, talk to guys like me?
Man, I got picked up by, I'm lucky to talk to guys like you, Johnny Gowdy. I'm super pumped to talk to you.
Thank you.
I've been a big fan of your show for a long time. We didn't even start with that. We should have started with that. Yeah, for sure, man.
I can edit this and just put your your graciousness at the beginning.
That's all you need to do. How much B-roll flattery do you want? I can give you 20 minutes right now. Your hair looks great, by the way.
Jesus, it's some bad shit. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, what were we talking about? I'm so sorry. I'm spaced out on you.
Playing with the band.
Oh.
And then...
Yeah, I mean...
would you be playing during COVID?
Yeah.
And then you said no because you wouldn't want to do it. And so I said, what are you doing just talking to guys like me? Or what else are you doing to sort of get the word out about the record? Whew, boy.
So you've got a great memory. I got real lucky and I got picked up by a bunch of little blogs, music blogs, primarily in the UK. I literally Googled, how do you put out an album? I had no idea. I'd never done it. And so, I found this thing called Submit Hub. Have you ever heard of Submit Hub?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Okay. Yeah. So the way it works is you essentially submit songs, singles, or whatever to this portal, and then all of these different bloggers, playlisters, Instagram people, whatever.
Wow.
You can pitch it to Submit Hub through their portal. And so, I got in there. I'm like, I'll check this out. You have to buy credits, which is kind of weird. And then you essentially go through their list of bloggers and things like that to see genre-wise if you align, and to see what kind of stats they have in regards to what kind of influence they have, if they're on Hypebeast, what their readership is, what their playlist numbers look like. And you essentially pitch your song to the blogger. And, the vast majority of the stuff is just almost an immediate denial, which was good for me out of the gate to experience just getting shit canned, right? And but luckily I had some stuff get picked up by some really cool blogs, UK, Ireland.
Is it like
South
power
Africa?
pop stuff? Because I kind of equate this music with power pop. I think it has to do with the song structure, the harmony.
Maybe.
I
mean, Submit Hub. So there's the collective of bloggers and whatnot. It goes all genres.
Right.
So you essentially have to pitch to the right bloggers to have a chance of getting picked up. But it's really neat. I don't know how the hell else I would do it. I mean, I don't have anyone promoting for me by any means. So luckily I got picked up by a handful of, I guess, decent blogs, because some stuff got playlisted, some stuff got featured. And yeah, so people are hearing it. I don't really understand it. I mean, it's odd to me.
Well, that's good, man. That's the way that stuff's supposed to work, the publicity thing.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I still have no clue. I mean, I'm stoked to be looking at you right now.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Stoked to be. Well, it was Brandon Callie's that was like, hey, you got to get Tom on the show.
Yeah, dude, he's been so cool.
Yeah,
he's been so gracious. I mean, he's gotten some radio for me. He's in here in town and in Dallas. Yeah, he got me a spin on with Laura Slow.
Yeah,
on the Lone Star State of Mind show, which I didn't think I'd ever hear one of these songs on the radio in town. That blew my mind. That was
I think it's cool.
Experience.
You should also go to like Co-op and go to like some underground shit where they get like dudes that are you know, because this record to me is like one of those records that like like Ram or something, like, you know what I mean, like Paul McCartney. Ram, like, it's
I
like
love Ram.
It's like a homemade, just fucking. It's groovy,
dude.
And the songs are good. Yeah,
thank you so much, man. And yeah, I love Ram. And like, that's odd you say that. I'm like, my mindset right now is I want to go. I like short songs, but I love like the Admiral Halsey song on Ram, where it's two songs glued together.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing that. That's my next move, is working on some of that, gluing two little songs together to make them find a way to fit, even though they don't fit. I want to do that real bad.
I did that. I went through a phase where I deliberately tried to do it, and those songs didn't make it.
I guess maybe you got to be Paul McCartney.
Yeah, or I don't think he's really coming at it like trying to write. Wait, I think he has a bunch of songs, he just mashes them together. I've only got the verse for this one, so I need to put it into the chorus of this one, and then whatever happens.
Band on the Run.
And then you've got Band on the Run, no problem.
It's a hit. Yeah.
He's got another solo album coming out. Or like McCartney 3, where he does all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about that.
Yeah,
I
me
liked
too.
McCartney 1 was pretty rad.
Yeah.
That's a good one. The Every Night song, that's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a killer song.
So, I mean, this record has that spirit of those kind of albums in it, right? I wasn't that far off.
No, totally.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Paper Brats. Why is the band called Neutral on Paul? Do you have a problem with some guy named Paul, or just not a problem? You're just neutral?
You hit it. So I had a buddy move to Dripping Springs that I grew up with, and we had a mutual friend named Paul. And literally the day we were catching up, we were having like a rapid fire discussion because he had to leave, and we were having a beer. And I was like, "Hey man, how's Paul? I haven't talked to Paul in years." He's like, "Dude, Paul's great." I was like, "Paul's the best." He's like, "If you're even neutral on Paul, fuck you." And so I was like, Neutral on Paul would be a good name for a shitty indie band. And
I think it's a good band name.
You're into it?
Yeah, I love it.
I'll take it. I mean, it was just instincts, man, just grabbing stuff. So
it's so much better than like the Tom Lamb Band.
Dude, Tom Lamb is a terrible name.
There's no, I just mean like when people just don't even like have a thing like, oh, the Johnny Gowdy Band.
You had a band named Gowdy.
Yeah, that's different though. See, that's like just a name unto itself, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think Gowdy's a good name for a band, actually.
Thanks.
But yeah.
You really said that confrontationally.
Oh, no.
That was more of a Santana move or Vallejo.
Okay, that's what you were going for? I dig that. I did that. It's power. It's the one name situation is a power move. I dig that.
Yeah. Lamb would be a cool name for a band.
Oh, it had to be. It's been taken, I'm sure, right?
I know there's a Lamb of God. So you don't
everything.
You don't rock metal? You stayed in the
Callie's
show
has
tunes?
tried me. Yeah, man, I listened to just way too much wimpy music growing up. Callie's took me to a Paul Bearer show. That was awesome.
Who's that? A metal guy?
Paul Bearer. They're a metal band, but they're super melodic.
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
Okay.
Yeah. So he took me to that. He got me into Paul Bearer for a minute. And I thought that was incredible. I mean, those guys play 7-string guitars. It's like watching people play a cello. Like they're that fluid and that melodic. I was really kind of blown away by it.
Yeah.
And I got really into the band Idols. Do you know the band Idols?
Uh-uh.
Oh, they're like a post-punk band. That's another Callie thing. I think he pushed that on me. So he's gotten me into a few things, but for the most part, I'm still a wimp.
Yeah. Does your wife still do stage? Do either of you are you guys into like community theater or something in Dripping Springs? Something weird like that?
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Should I start that? Should I be like the dude that starts it out here? No, but she does audiobooks. She does
really?
like some cool. Yeah, she does like some cool voiceover shit, which is really
cool,
rad,
man.
Yeah, man. So she's really talented. She's really incredible, and she did a bunch of commercials. She worked for Green Mountain Energy for a long time, and somebody just there was like, "Hey, you've got a good voice. You want to do this?" And so she did all these Green Mountain Energy commercials that ended up getting blasted out nationally.
Really?
Like, played everywhere. So we would roll into Houston. They had a big market in Houston, and we'd turn the radio on, and she would be on the radio literally every time we drove into Houston.
That's awesome. You know who used to work at Green Mountain Energy? You know Casey McPherson from Alpha Rev?
Yeah, totally.
That was his day job when I was in a band with
Really?
Rando Sheena early 2000s, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to have a day job, man. That's so funny.
You got to serve somebody, man. Well, man, you did a great job. This record, Paper Brats, is amazing. Sunrise Diner, do we know when it's coming out? Is there a date?
I don't have a date yet,
They're
man.
still pressing.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, people can get out there.
Pressing.
People can get out there and look up Neutral and Paul on all the streaming services. Check it out. Look them up in the hip British blogs and Irish blogs. Dude, that's cool as shit, you know?
I've felt super fortunate that anyone would listen, dude.
I mean, you've heard my music, right?
Yeah, for sure. I hear you on the radio.
Don't I sound like a guy that's begging English blogs to write about him? Like,
dude, you get played on KDRP. I love KDRP. I listen to it all the time. You get played on there all the time. I feel like every time
Really?
I'm at the Dripping Springs Whataburger waiting because we have nowhere else to go, I hear Johnny Gowdy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, that first song off your EP.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn, man.
they play that.
I call my
are you not
ASCAP
getting paid?
guy and get my
I
fucking
know.
75 cents before I freak out. Well, congratulations on this record, man. You guys did a great job. Tatch, where do people find Tatch? What's the name of his studio?
Taylor Tatch. His studio is Audio Styles in Dripping Springs. Check it out. His studio is amazing. He's awesome. He's worked with a lot of amazing people. He played guitar for Maren Morris forever.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, he's the real deal. He's a real deal. I hope people in Austin start understanding that there's another dude out here that's incredible. A lot of his business comes from Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth area, but he's awesome.
All right.
Awesome guy.
Well, everyone check out Audio Styles, Taylor Tatch. You can find Neutral on Paul at neutralonpaul.com. Look for Sunrise Diner coming from Brandon Cali sometime soon. Anything else?
Yeah, man. Dude, let's just hope everything chills out and we can be done with a certain orange someone very soon.
Yeah. Is that a knife? Oh, I thought you're
No,
it's your phone. I thought you were like, hey, look, man, this is it.
It's much worse.
This is it. I'm stabbing my computer.
It's much worse than a knife.
Well, hopefully it all turns out, and we live in a peaceful world. And your children will grow up in a place where they don't have to fear the President of the United States of America.
Jesus Christ. Johnny Gotti for president. Whatever. Let's do it.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, if he can do it, we can all do it. You know what I mean? Probably someone with a little more qualification than me.
Sure. That makes all the sense to me, too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, dude, it's been great talking to you, Tom. And thanks for listening to the show. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, man, you're really good at it.
Thank you, man.
All right,
you're really good at music. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks, brother.
Tom Lamb from Neutral on Paul. Also, he plays with Brandon Callies, but his Neutral on Paul album, Paper Brats, available now. What a great record, man. I really, really, really love that record. Great songs. It feels so organic. Talented guy, Tom Lamb. Great songwriter, great singer, great guitar player, great musician. Find him at neutralonpaul.com and check out Paper Brats wherever it is that you stream or download your jams. All right, so when we were when we were having that conversation, it was in between Election Day and when Joe Biden had been elected president-elect. But at the time that I'm doing this outro, I don't know what happened, if the president ever backed down or conceded or anything yet. So hopefully he did. Gang, have a great day, whatever it is that you're doing. And don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher. New shows every Tuesday and every Friday, me talking to great musicians. And don't forget, man, Ben Buck. Check him out. Ben Buck Beatbox on Bandcamp. Ben Buck Beatbox on Bandcamp. It's a great record. I really, really love Speaker Bump Deluxe. All right. I also love Paper Brats by Neutral on Paul. We're going to hear the rest of this song, Pills. Great song. Have a great day, whatever it is you're doing. Keep your chin up. Stay in the sunshine. Walk on the sunny side of the street. And let's get down.
In the morning.